Michael, let's talk about the wrestling business for a minute, my friend.
Yeah. I think we have a very special guest. I don't even know what to call this guy. I don't know what the parameters are. JD, you worked out this deal here, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to say and what I'm supposed to do. I do know that I got to switch this over, and then I'm gonna bring our friend on, and he's going to be wearing a mask because he does not want to be seen, because if he is seen by the masses, the dozens and dozens of people that watch this show, he could probably get he could, sorry, Mick Foley joke. He could get into a lot of trouble here. Let's bring our friend on. JD, why don't you introduce our friend here?
This is my friend. This is the Black Mask of pro wrestling, although perhaps he's the Black Mask of sports entertainment, because this is a good friend of mine who I met on Twitter, actually, arguing about pro wrestling, if you will. And then we got to kind of hit it off. I'm like, hey, this guy's actually really cool. Like, he is an insider in the WWE. I almost said World Wrestling Entertainment. I don't know if you guys actually call that business. I don't even know if that's the name of the business anymore. But this is a WWE insider, and I'm a dude who likes to just rabble rouse a little bit and throw stones on occasion to get a reaction. And I actually want to make it a good friend on this. And I asked our friend, who will remain nameless, although I like Black Mask, that's really cool, I'm a comic guy, to come on and join us on this, the initial episode of the Mike and JD show. And Mr. Mask, sir, I want to thank you for coming on and joining us today, man.
Well, I hope you can hear me, and I appreciate the invite.
No, we can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You've been secretly a contributor to the show for months, so I appreciate it.
For months, it's been great. I appreciate you because you're a cool dude, and I want to thank you for coming on. And you're in a gimmick, which just makes this even better. I absolutely love it.
Ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie.
So, I'm not going to ask you what you do. I'm going to say, what has the atmosphere around WWE been like the last couple months? Like WrestleMania, like, I'm not kissing ass here. I'm going to be real. WrestleMania was a big success. I don't think anybody could deny that, right? Even people who like to kick people when they're down, can't even deny that. So talk about what's it been like there the last few months?
Well, after Vince left, and Levesque taking over, it was a breath of fresh air. It's one of those things, it's like with Vince, when he was around, you always knew, and I know the guy takes, all kinds of hits from people on social media and stuff like that. I've got a lot of respect for Vince. Now, Vince, is he perfect? No, but, you'd always done things his way. And we knew, his way wasn't always the right way. So when Levesque took over, the morale in the company was, it went up tenfold. And for that little 6-month period at the end of 2022, it was great. And then, of course, he ends up pretty much forcing his way back in the company. And just uncertain, I kind of messaged you a little bit about it, because it's like, you don't really know what's going to happen. And for me personally, and I know a lot of people, not knowing is really terrible. It's just a terrible feeling. And we expected him to be at WrestleMania. Why wouldn't he be at WrestleMania? He created it. And, you get to WrestleMania and, he's there. He's in gorilla. He's not barking orders or anything. But you're still kind of like, here it comes, And so, that morale just, it's just an uneasy feeling. And, you get to Raw Monday and, boy, did crap hit the fan quick that day. I can honestly say for me, I think it was one of the worst days at work I've had in my 20-plus career there, 20-year career there. That was a very, very low point for a lot of people, not just the talent, but the employees as well, because it's hard when, like I said, when you're in the vent system, it is what it is. But once you get out of it, it's like, damn, this place can be so much more. And so things, I think they're better from that initial Monday, but it's been a little uneasy.
So it's Mike dropped a nice little World War I reference. For me, it's I look at this is the Mike and JD show. We get a little weird. It's Plato's allegory of the cave, right? You don't know kind of what's going on until you actually look behind the shadows and see, there's a different things can be better. Since Vince has come back, what's the feeling like backstage? Like, are people, because the term that we always hear on the outside is walking on eggshells. Is it still, is it like that again, or is it different this time around?
I wouldn't say it's exactly the same. I think the big thing is anytime you see sales, mergers, anything like that, you know layoffs are coming. Now, are they going to lay off talent? I think it's a possibility. I think for a lot of people that knew that Vince had asked, whether it's Bronson Reed, Karrion Cross, um, Dakota Kai, people like that. I think those people are more on edge than anybody. But I think it's worse personally with the employees because, you may already have people there in Endeavor that can do their job and they don't need you anymore. So that for me is the scary thing.
Mike, look like you had something.
Oh no, I was just gonna follow up with that. Yeah, that's the scariest part because every time there's a merger or an acquisition, if you already have, say, if you're in the sales department or in human resources, if you already have that going, why would you hire a brand new sale or basically double up your efforts to do the same thing? You could probably cut down that next force coming in, maybe keep one or two people just for a little bit of continuity, and you're gonna get rid of everybody else, and that's the scariest part of the whole deal. But the talent should also be worried because Vince obviously asked a lot of people. Why that was, profits were probably a motive. There was a lot of stuff. I think he asked a lot of people that deserves a strong word, but he was pretty right about, honestly. But then there are a lot of people that I felt like he got wrong, but he did what he did. But in this, with the merger with UFC, I don't think he has to worry about doubling up talent there because I don't see WWE talent going to UFC or vice versa. So they are going to have two separate pools of talent. So I think for the most part, talent's probably going to be safe, but it's those the unsung heroes of the company, guys like yourself, that unfortunately are going to be on hard times coming up, possibly.
And that's the thing that I hate because when you look at any show, but like look at a show like WrestleMania, which I'm not trying to toot the company's horn, but I thought that was one of the best WrestleManias that
I
I've
loved it.
seen in years. And
Dude, I was there live. What a spectacle! Just an incredible production. Everybody crapped on night 2. I had a lot of fun on night 2. Maybe because I was there and I hadn't even seen night 1 yet. Because during night 1 I was driving to LA. I had a lot of fun, man. I thought you guys hit a home run.
and I could be wrong. This is my opinion. I think had the main event ended differently, I think people would have had a more glowing outlook of it. I just think that put such a damper on things. It was like, you know what? Screw night 2. Night 1 was awesome.
Yeah.
So, on the inside, did you guys have a hunch Endeavor was coming in, or did that kind of come out of left field? Because we talked about it. Endeavor, in front of their investors, told people we're not interested, which is not the way things are supposed to be on Wall Street. You're not supposed to do that. But then here we are. What were you guys thinking? Because we were all sniffing Saudi and all kinds of dead ends. What was it like as far as like who's coming in for you guys?
For the Saudi thing, I had a hard time. I know there are other people like me that just had a hard time seeing it just because of how some of the media and stuff view the Saudis. I figured if the only way they would sell to the Saudis if it was just like Vince couldn't find anybody else that would want to keep him around. Because that whole thing about Vince saying that Ari told him that he wanted him around. Yeah, that's such bullcrap. 100%. That was part of the deal. Like he wanted to stay around, but honestly, a lot of people didn't see it. I hate saying this, but it's like the company is so big. I don't think people realize just how much information gets floated around. That's why I'm always really careful about what I tweet and stuff because I could hear something, but by the time I hear it, it could already gone through 5 or 6 different people. So a lot of times online, when news breaks, like I've seen Meltzer say stuff, Sapp say stuff, and the talent and people like myself, no idea. So that's kind of was when Endeavor, when it kind of broke, we found out a lot of times when everyone else found out.
How does that feel, like to not know who's kind of going to be running the show there? Like, you have to forgive me. I worked freelance for 20 years, worked on my own, and now I'm a teacher. So this is like totally a new world for me. Like, and the inside, like to find out your boss is somebody different. What is like? What's the vibe in the company like? Especially at a place like WWE, what's been one dude for so long.
Yeah, I can't speak for like the people working in the offices in Stamford, Connecticut, and stuff like that, how they feel. I think the biggest thing for the people that were involved in the shows and stuff is the people currently running it, Levesque and his management, are they going to be kept around? You know, if they are, I don't think people really cared that much because everything, like I said, when Vince left, it had been just the best. I think a lot of people felt it had been in years. So that was really the biggest question.
What do you think? It's hard to say this, but I mean, like, I'm just gonna ask, like, where's your head at going into the future? Like, I know you got some uncertainty. How is this kind of affecting you? Where do you see things going for you personally under the next 6 months, 7 months, something like that?
I will. There's stuff I would like to say, but I will message you personally about it.
Okay. Well, I can't wait.
Yeah, don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. It's like,
No, I say, like I said, I'm pretty smart. You know, I will say this.
Oh, yeah.
I was calculating. Like I created my account basically because, you know, playing off, you know, Mike's point a little bit earlier. There's so many people that people have never heard of that you could pass by in Walmart or Target or somewhere that, you know, help put these shows on. Whether it's, you know, people that's working the ring crew or, you know, people in the back who might have some of the most minuscule job, but they still have a role to play. So, you know, it's like those people, you know, they're a big part of what we do. And so for me, I think going forward, like I said, I'm always conscious about careful what I put out. I always figured if I was to get caught, I thought with the events administration, because of my tenure and stuff, I have friends in high places. So I was like, you know what, I might get fired, but like this is my way to interact with people. Otherwise, you know, I would have never met you.
Right.
And so now with the UFC, it's like, man, if I get caught, it sucks. I'm probably more likely to or Endeavor, not the UFC, whatever. I'm more likely to lose my job. But honestly, at this point in my career, I'm good financially. Not to brag or anything, but you know, it's like, so it's just kind of whatever. But for me, like I said, I'll message you, but I'm hoping the next 6 months and stuff, kind of answer a lot of questions and kind of see how things play out because, you know, Vince, he's not been back since that Raw Mania. So, you know, I know he's always going to have a say in stuff, but as long as Levesque and company are the main ones, it's much more doable.
You've known Vince for a long time. Do you think he enjoys having just his specter hanging over the show? Just the fact that, you never know when I'm going to show up. Kind of. Do you think he kind of? Because again, I just finished a very mediocre autobiography about the man. So, spoiler. Do you think this is something that he kind of enjoys? Like the fact that people are like, is he coming? Is he going? Is he in charge? Is he not? Do you think that's something he enjoys taking part in, or is this just like it is going to be what it's going to be, and Vince doesn't care either way?
I think it's the latter. I think you know with Vince, it's like anything that you know anyone says about him, even if it's completely negative or you write in a book, he doesn't care. Like he really lives his own life in his own bubble, and for him, it's like it. I had this conversation with my dad when I was talking with him about what was going on. And I said, you know, Vince, what he's doing, I feel is wrong because Vince knows the overall feeling. He knows what people are saying about him online. He doesn't get online, but he hears things, you know, because he's got people that tell him, you know, his so-called yes men, stuff like that. He knows that feeling. But if I'm putting myself in his shoes and it's wrong, but it's like if I was to create something, and I know, you know, technically he bought it from his dad, but he ended up making it what it is.
Yeah.
So how do you build this into what it is and then someone tell you, hey, you can't do this anymore, I'm probably going to be like, well, I'm going to do it until I die. So I get it from his point, but you know, and again, I hate saying that, so I understand where he's coming from, but I don't think he really thinks anything about it. Um, I think the biggest thing for him is, does he want to destroy his relationship, or how much does he want to damage the relationship with his son-in-law? Because Levesque said in the past, if it ever got to a point to where, it was really affecting them, he would be done as well. I'm not saying that's where it's going to get. I just know that's what he said. And I think Vince knows that, hey, this is what Levesque wants. It's what he wants to do. So I'm hoping that he'll be like, I'm going to be involved, but I'm still going to let him kind of do his thing. Might be wishful thinking, but time will tell.
Has it been that way since he? Sorry, JD. Has it been?
No,
that
I think
way
we're the same
he
path.
hasn't-
Go ahead.
Yeah, so he hasn't showed up since the Raw after Mania, and there was a lot of backlash with him being there and with him kind of pulling the shenanigans that really wanted everybody to get him out of there in the first place. Well, those type, other than the legal shenanigans, but talk about just his behavior of ripping up the scripts and stuff like that. He hasn't been back since. Is it because of the backlash of him, being there that night that they've gotten? Is that the reason why he hasn't been there, in your opinion?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, because like that side of it, like the business side of it, I don't know, since he's had this deal with Endeavor, if he's got more corporate responsibilities now he has to attend to. I really don't know any of that. I can tell you about that day, and it's like that day was such a normal day, because that Mania, we're coming off of it, and usually the Raw after Mania, it's always fun because it's one of the most hype crowds of the year. And I'm waking up that morning thinking, all right, Monday Night Raw tonight, it's going to be fun. A lot of the people that attended Mania are going to be there. It's just going to be a great night. And really, everything was smooth as can be. We go throughout the day. Of course, that was the day that the sale had been announced. And I think at 3 p.m. they had an employee meeting. And then I think around 5 was the talent meeting. So obviously I was part of the employee meeting. So again, nothing out of the ordinary. Everything's going. It's like in these meetings kind of frustrate me, because they pretty much tell you pretty much what you expect to hear going in. Nothing's going to change. Levesque's still going to run the day-to-day operations. Vince will run the business in, blah, blah, blah. And so it's like, well, okay, you're not really told us anything, but whatever. Day's still going smooth. About 5 o'clock, they have the talent meeting. And so for me personally, it's like, well, here's a great time for me to take a break. So I go on break. And then I don't know what happened, but when I come back from that break, because apparently when everyone was in the talent meeting, that's when Vince took over the script. And I come back, and it's almost like I had walked into a different place, because crap just absolutely hit the fan. And it was like, oh my goodness, here we are. It's like the last 8 months or so had never happened, and we're right back to square one. And it was surreal.
So I guess we won't take up all your time. We appreciate you coming on. Last thing I'm going to ask is, you mentioned the relationship between Vince and Levesque. What's it like right now? I mean, publicly. I mean, you never know what their personal is, but I mean, the public relationship, as far as like the company goes, how is that? Like, how is the relationship? What is Levesque acting like toward you guys? I mean, how does it feel?
Well, he's not acting differently toward, I think, anybody else. I've heard him make comments to people that are close to him that, is he saying these things to Vince? I don't know. He's not bad-mouthing Vince, but he's basically voicing his displeasure about things. Now, as far as their interaction that I've seen publicly with each other, Vince is a businessman. Levesque, he'll do business. They're not gonna have a big blow up in front of everybody or anything like that. The only thing I can really say is just little comments and stuff that I've heard him say to people close to him.
Well, I'm Mike. You want to? I mean, I'm speechless a little.
Yeah. So I I got two last things, and you can answer them real quick. There's been rumors of a hiring freeze now that the sale has been working out. Have you heard anything about a hiring freeze? Because we did notice that Brian Cage and Jay White went to AEW as opposed to coming to WWE. When I was told by a couple of people that those things were done deals, but they ended up going to AEW. What have you heard anything about that?
You know, as far as the hiring freeze goes, um, nothing was conveyed to me per se. I'm not saying other people didn't hear about it, but it was kind of expected that okay, the sale's gonna happen, unless it's like a big name like a Jay White, and I'll talk about that in a second. Unless it's a big name, we figured there probably wouldn't be a lot of hiring or anything like that. As far as Brian Cage goes, when I saw those reports, it's like I don't know how much Hunter pursued him, but I knew there were people that in the company that were advocating for him. Obviously, I'm not in the contract talks or anything, but the Jay White stuff, and it goes back to what I say being careful about tweeting is, as I said earlier, it's a big company. So it's like people think, like I get stuff messages from people asking me about, you know, just random different questions. And sometimes I'm like, look, I don't know because I don't know all the answers. And sometimes, like I said, information gets passed down. Like I see Dave, he'll like, I think he put a while back about Alexa Bliss going on hiatus or whatever, which she vehemently denied. And I'm thinking, no, you're on hiatus, or there's been stuff that he's tweeted or said on his Wrestling Observer Live that at the time was right. And I don't care what anybody says. I put it out there that Jay White, I expected to see him in WWE
We
because
talked about it.
yeah, oh yeah, we did. Um, like I said, I'm not there in those negotiations, but from what I knew, from what people that were close to those situations had told me, it was pretty much like he was right there in your hands. And the fact that this deal didn't close, I don't know. I've got two theories. Um, Either one, it kind of goes maybe something with the hiring freeze might have played a part, or Vince, he shows up that I think was March 6th in Boston, and of course he's around, and maybe that got in White's head because I feel like Jay White's going to succeed with Levesque running it, with Vince running it. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. It's so hit and miss with Vince because you just never know sometimes. So Jay White hurt me, and I told JD this. I hadn't felt because a lot of times when talent comes and goes, it's just like, well, it sucks, but that's the business. But that one was a blow because I don't really know Jay. I was looking forward to kind of getting to know him, and I hadn't felt anything like that since I first met JD when Adam Cole didn't resign because Adam Cole, I love that guy. Still talk to him to this day, fantastic person, and I wish he was still in WWE, but I wish him the best of success wherever he goes.
So for Brian Cage, I was like, I don't see the fit there with WWE. He's like 5'8", 285 pounds of Decadura ballin'. Ain't no way he's passing a wellness test. His heart has got to be on its last legs. He's got steroid belly as we speak. I was like, ain't no way they're bringing that guy in. And he's got no charisma whatsoever. But Jay White, I was all in on Jay White to WWE. I was like, this is perfect, man. So that was a personal disappointment for me too.
Oh, they had creative plans for him.
Yeah. And so you weren't the only one saying it. Like we heard from several people that it was like a done deal. So lastly, and we'll let you go on this. And this is a very serious, so please answer truthfully.
Okay.
Have you ever sneezed in front of Vince?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes, please. If it's gonna get you into trouble, don't answer. But I think that's a very good question.
It's how can you control a sneeze? And I don't know how many people know it, but daggone it, you don't nod your head. Like, if somebody's saying something you agree with, if you nod your head yes, he gets so mad because you don't influence the room, so he's just, I don't know. I guess his little billionaire eccentric quirks that he has. It's when you know him as long as I have, it's just like even if he gets mad, raises his voice, it's just like, yeah, it's Vince, whatever, you know.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on.
Yes.
This was absolutely awesome. You got an open invite if you ever want to come
Anytime.
and get some stuff off your chest or something crazy goes on. Someone loses their mind in a press conference or something like that.
or you
Feel
can
free.
Mask, you can come shoot the shit about anything. You're
Yeah.
always welcome here. Thank
Always.
You guys just let me know. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't sound too out of breath because it's a little hard to breathe in this thing. And I was really nervous. I'm not going to lie. It's the first time I'm used to seeing, you know, the Roman Reigns and people, you know, going out and doing these things. So it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I appreciate it.
Well,
We
Roman
really
Reigns is welcome
appreciate
here too, by the way. Roman
Yeah,
can come
spread
on the
the
show
word.
anytime. So
Tell Roman we love to have him. Well,
hey,
we
Maybe
acknowledge.
if I ever get out of it, I'll be like, hey, you know, once you do this stuff.
all right, man. Well, hey, thank you very much for coming
We
on.
appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, thank you all.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.